Welcome to the Game Changer podcast. Wendy, we are episode 30. Can you believe that?
No, I can't. It's
We are
amazing.
episode
Amazing.
30 today. JJ, we have today JJ Wenner joining us for episode 30 of the Game Changers. We appreciate you all for turning in and once again to be part of our conversation. We're profoundly grateful for the support of Evan, Iggy, and JC and the TSA crew in providing us with this platform to engage with incredible individuals in our community. Join us as we delve into the lives and stories of our guests, exploring their deepest secrets, experiences with fantasy football, and much, much more. The Game Changers is not just a show, it has evolved into a cherished community for us, and we are excited to share this journey with all of you. Wendy,
Gosh, it's always so good, Carla. 30 episodes. Are you kidding me? And JJ, we forgot to tell you about the secrets. Okay, so yeah, you
Oh,
have
okay.
to like
I'm an
tell
open
some
book.
big.
I'm
Yeah,
an
you have to
open book.
tell some big secret later. So start
Okay.
thinking of it. Okay, but I kind of wanted to start the show off on. It's not that it's not a positive note, but there was a couple things that went on today. Of course, on X. Mostly it's positive, you guys, but today was just really bad. The first thing was Caitlin Clark with the reporter that was weird with the okay, that was just, and I hate to use the word because that's what everyone's been saying, it's cringy. Okay, it was very unprofessional, and I think he's going to pay for it. I really do. I think I don't know the guy, I don't know what his intentions were, but that was really negative today. But my biggest thing, because this happened to my friend. Okay, my friend is EMT Ashley, and she was attacked today on Twitter, and it was just over. This is silly. It's over football, man. And she is one of the nicest people. She's been on our show already. She is very knowledgeable, just a super, super person, positive, always helping people. I'm very blessed to have her as one of my friends. She's always in the chat with the women in fantasy football, and that was totally unnecessary today. I'm not going to sit here and bully who the guy was. That's not the point of this. The point of this is for everyone to be positive. Lift each other up and don't act like that. It was really, really upsetting. I almost cried last week when somebody told me that I had wrinkles when I smile, and you know what I mean. And for her to be called the names that she was called today, I can't even. But she's a tough cookie. So my point is everybody, let's be positive, lift each other up. Women, men, doesn't matter. I just want to have that conversation. And I also want to mention that the sports affiliation they've been so wonderful, right, Carla? I mean, they just are so inclusive of women. They want more women to come and join. What their vision is. So make sure that, they're going to have a Discord, you guys. The sports affiliation right now has a Discord. It's brand new. This is breaking news, y'all. It's breaking news. Okay. You're going to go in there. It's going to be during the draft. Search sports affiliation, reach out to JC, reach out to Carla or myself. We'll get you the link. Right now it's free, which is great. They're going to be doing the draft. So make sure that you pop in there and give them a listen and start talking to people that you might not have talked to before. So thank you guys for letting me say that. Ashley, you rock. I love you. And you let me know if you need anything.
you all rock. Be kind, you guys. Be kind. It doesn't you don't pay anything to be kind.
Yep.
Anyway, tonight we have the pleasure of welcoming JJ Wenner to our show. In our encounter at the expo, JJ and I engaged in fascinating conversations and found common ground on various topics. JJ's diverse interests include being an IDP enthusiast, a middle school history teacher, a dynasty writer, and a podcast host. Originating from Pennsylvania, JJ transitioned from a sales career following a passion for teaching. Currently, JJ serves as a team leader for a group consisting of 5 teachers and teacher assistants and oversee multiple clubs as LGBTQ+, Dungeons and Dragons, and Lego Club. During a sudden rainstorm at the expo. JJ and our group sought refuge in a cozy bar where we bonded over games of pool, shared laughter, and exchanged stories. But Sunday night took a humorous turn at the karaoke event when JJ, along with Jameson, Doug, and Jorge, when they orchestrated a memorable moment that sparked a frenzy on Twitter with a picture surrounding Matt and kissing his forehead.
Yes.
We will talk about that. I'm so looking forward to reconnecting with you, JJ, at this year's expo and creating more cherished memories together. How are you tonight, my friend? And welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. But I think you said all the good stuff about me. I don't know if there's anything left.
Well, we got an hour, so you better come up with something.
I'm going to have to start making up some stuff. All right.
There's secrets. We're gonna share some
warned
secrets.
You
I
did
warned
warn
you.
me. I've been trying to come up with some good ones. Not
You
too
have
good,
to.
Well, here's one. I got to know right away. What does JJ stand for?
though. JJ stands for Jack John. My parents gave me two first names. I don't know why. I do know why. I had to be named after a saint because my mom's Italian. My dad wanted me named after him. He's Jack. Jack wasn't a saint, so I'm Jack John. And they gave me the nickname JJ because of Dynamite and Good Times. So
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Yeah, you're showing our age a little bit there, JJ.
yeah,
Most of these people don't know what Good Times is.
I get wrinkles too when I smile. That's wisdom.
No,
That's wisdom.
I
agree.
earned them, sons of guns.
Oh, hell yeah. Please.
We all do, Wendy. I beat.
Oh goodness. So so you grew up in Pennsylvania. I do want to start there.
Okay.
My husband's family's from Pennsylvania. Actually, it's like a Aliquippa or something. It's like
Yes, the home of Darrell Revis, I believe.
yeah,
That's the other
you're
side of the
right.
state, yeah.
There you go. So where are you at in Pennsylvania?
I'm on the other side of the state. I'm over north of Philly, north of like Bethlehem, in a little town called Chapman, little tiny town.
So are you a Steelers fan?
Oh hell no! I'm a Jets fan. No offense against any Steelers fans out there. God bless your team, but no. I'm in the Eagles side of PA, but no, I'm a Jets fan.
You just can't do the Eagles, huh?
You know what? I just didn't. My mom didn't really let us watch football. She didn't like us just sitting around watching anything for any length of time when I was growing up. So it wasn't until I went to college that I really became a football fan. And the Jets, their training camp was at Hofstra. So Dynamite. So it was actually Wayne Corbett was a senior when I was a freshman. Keyshawn Johnson was just drafted. And I was like, wow, here's a team that I can love and they will bring me happiness. But much like most of the thoughts I had as a young man,
it didn't work out very well.
not well at all. Lots of misery.
Yeah, but you got to stay. You got to stick with your team. You can't just jump ship. So right?
No. I'm not a quitter. Not a quitter.
No, you're not, because you had a lot of stuff. I loved reading your bio, by the way. I know you were just like, well, how much do you want? We're like, well, give us whatever you want to give us, but it really helps us to get to know you a little bit. So, so you dropped out of college. Let's start with that. What was the deal with that there?
I was starting to go through like mental health stuff in college, but back in the 90s, like that wasn't really a thing. So I just stopped going to classes. And they let me, they just let me keep coming back for like years. And I would pass like one class and drop 3. And I did well in my major. I liked what I was doing there, but anything else, I just stopped going. And eventually it was like, I can't be here anymore. So I kind of lied to my parents. I said I graduated. I didn't. It was a bad lie. Listen, Lots of things I did as a young man were terrible.
We live and learn.
Yeah, so I just couldn't do it anymore, and I left.
Well, and then you went to Chicago for a couple years?
I moved into an apartment in Queens, and I was evicted after like a week. So yeah, I had nowhere to go, and part of the reason I was evicted was a buddy of mine was acting up, and he lived in Chicago, so he was like, "You can come out here and live on the floor of my dorm room." So I was like, "I guess I'm going to Chicago." And that's where I ended up for a short period of time. Well, 2 years.
Wow. Yeah. Well, and then you moved back home.
I did. Pennsylvania's like the mafia. You can get out, but
Yeah, they always take you back in, huh?
Pull you right back in.
Yeah, but you also met Michelle there, right? Your wife?
Well, yeah, I came back and I got into sales eventually. And I was, that's enough out of you, Doug. I'm not even talking about Doug, jerk. Yes, and I started.
JJ.
He's saucy tonight. I respect.
He's saucy every night.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I met my wife at a job. I started doing like residential, like door-to-door cable sales because I didn't have a college degree. So that was an easy way to make some money. And internet was big back then. That was like the dot-com bubble was just about to burst. So yeah.
So was it like dial-up back then?
No. We were early Ethernet, high-speed cable modem. It was awesome. Fancy.
All right. And then, so you have a big anniversary coming up.
Yeah, we've this will be our 20th wedding anniversary this year. So
you met her when you had moved back, and then you went back to school. Oh, by the way, you know what your anniversary is in June?
Yeah, June 19th.
Oh, mine's June 3rd, and it's going to be 29 years.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
I love that. Yeah, it is. Thank you. So you went back to school, and that's when you found your love for teaching.
Well, no, I went back to school. After I met my wife, she was like, "Well, if you want to get your degree, why don't you just go back?" So for 2 days a week for a year, I drove to Long Island from Pennsylvania, and I took classes from 8 in the morning until 8 at night to finish my degree. And it was crazy because that was right after 9/11 when we went into Iraq. So like all the bridges would have like Humvees on them, and like the traffic was terrible. But yeah, so I went back to school, but I just wanted to get my bachelor's in anything just so I could be able to get better jobs. And I stayed in sales for another 15 years after that. Yeah, about that.
You know, man.
Wow. That's a lot. I want to ask you, talking about mental health, JJ, you said something about like leaving school because of mental health. Now, in a society that often stigmatizes emotional vulnerability in men, how can we create a safe space that encourages open conversations about mental health challenges among men? And what role can individuals and communities play in changing the narrative around masculinity and mental health?
That's a great question. I have found, especially when I went back into teaching, when I became a teacher. I've tried to be open and honest with my students about my struggles in an effort to let them be open and honest with me about theirs. So I just share what I go through. You know, they're like Toronto Dave, Moose, Fantasy Moose. Like those guys are like trailblazers and sharing what they go through. So I don't know. I just try to be honest with what I'm going through. And I mean, I don't share everything because, you know, some of it, but I don't know. I think the stigma is slowly going away. I mean, I think in certain sectors of the population, like they'll never accept people admitting their own weaknesses, but I don't know. I don't feel weak when I talk about it. It actually makes me feel better and a little bit more resilient to face the day. I don't know. Did I ask that question?
Yeah, that's really good to share. I mean, there's more men that they need to hear that, because they more men need to share about their mental health as well. So thank you for sharing that and being open to talk about it. I appreciate it.
Sure. My pleasure.
It is.
Yeah.
It's tough. My husband has mental health issues. He takes medicine. He goes to therapy. He struggled with it his whole life, but back then you didn't know what it was. And I think it is, especially with men. It's being talked about more frequently, and you've got these pioneers like Toronto Dave leading. Like, I know he has a chat. I know he's got a chat, and he always says, "Hey, if anybody wants to join the chat."
Yep.
How great is that? Because he's had his own struggles, but now he's turning around helping others. And I think, and that's the good part of the community sometimes, JJ.
It is.
It is.
Yes.
So
you don't feel alone.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know there's so many people that, if I were having a bad, and I have bad days, I have a lot of bad days. And believe me, Carla's usually the one that knows about it.
And I love it. I mean, we got each other back, which is really good. That's how,
Sure.
community should face
Absolutely.
mental health. Yeah, we should get each other back. How about what inspired you to become a history teacher?
Nothing at all. I'm an English teacher by trade. When I went back to school just to get my degree, to make it go quicker, I picked up a minor in English because I love reading. And I was a theater major, so I had a theater major and a English minor. So when I decided to become a teacher, I was going to be an English teacher. I always wanted to be an English teacher. So that's what I did. But after like 4 years of that, our school changed the way that it structured English and reading classes. And half of the English teachers were told that they no longer had jobs.
Oof.
So I had gone back and tried to pick up like extra certs along the way, because all you have to do is pass like a hard test. So I love tests. I was like, I'm in. So when they got rid of my position, I was like, oh, I teach social studies. So pushed me on over into early U.S. history.
Well, and I noticed you had said that you're at a Title I school.
I am.
I don't. What does that mean exactly?
Oh, sorry. That was Title I school is if you have a certain amount of your student population who qualify for free or reduced lunch, which is like a poverty standard. So I work it's more of an inner city. It's a poor school. Lots of kids in poverty. So It's interesting. It's a good place to teach. Like you can make an impact, which is why I wanted to be a teacher.
Yes.
I was tired of
scale. That's why you should be a teacher. You guys have to have that. Carla's a teacher as well. And,
yes, she is a great teacher.
Yeah.
Great teacher.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It takes one to see another, JJ.
Yeah.
I'm not at that level yet. One day. Mauricio.
Hi, Mauricio.
I'm happy to see Mauricio a lot more than Doug.
Yes.
And Jameson, a friend of the show, Jameson too. Jameson, he was here before the show started. He gets the special prize.
Hutch knows
we need to run under the rain with Jameson too, not just Mauricio.
Yeah.
This year.
So I was reading the club, and I heard Carla mention the clubs that you lead.
Mm-hmm.
The Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, that kind of goes. I didn't know kids still do that.
They do. They're nerds.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love nerds. Nerds are the best, right? That's why I love fantasy football, because we're all nerds.
Yes.
Like at our core, we're all a little weird, which is nice. It was funny. I have to fill out a form and submit it like a club application. And the one part says, what type of students are you looking to have in your club? So I just wrote nerds and I submitted it. and the head was just like, I think we should change that. And I was like, I'm not changing anything. I'm looking for nerds. And I don't know anything. I know nothing about Dungeons and Dragons. There was just one student who wanted a club. I was like, I'll do it.
So do you know about it now? Do you play?
Oh no, I sit in the back of the room and make fun of them. No, listen, nerds need to be bullied. That's how life works, right? Because you have to keep the nerd in check. Like that's my role in this.
You know what? Those nerds are going to be the ones making the big bucks later on, too.
Listen, that's why I keep them close to me, Wendy. Let's be honest. Teaching doesn't pay a lot. I need one of these nerds to like take care of me.
For sure.
I know that X4N was.
And then the LGBTQIA+.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that club?
The club is called True Colors. It was a club started by a retired colleague, and it's just a safe space. It's a safe space for kids who, you know, identify as something different or just don't really fit into any other group. And we're just silly. Like, it is the silliest club. We don't schedule anything. Like, there's no agenda. Like, we just get together, we listen to music. They draw on my board, and we actually just got through a whole round of presentations where the kids made like PowerPoints about themselves and like all their little obsessions, and it was really fun. But yeah, it's just a safe space that they can get together.
You know, okay, here's the thing. You've got to be the cool teacher. You've got to be the cool teacher. Like, everybody at the school has to be like, Mr. Wenner's the cool teacher.
I'm the understanding teacher. I don't know if I'm the cool teacher because I'm older than their parents or grandparents, as some of them remind me very often. But I'm definitely the one they go to if they have an issue they need to hash out.
That's awesome.
Let me ask you a question about the LGBTQ plus club. Do you often have like any issues happening with some of the teachers as well, not being supportive of that club?
I have not encountered anybody giving me pushback, but I'm pretty loud and obnoxious. So like, I don't know if anybody would push back to me. They might say some stuff outside of it. But that's their business. But no, nobody has really ever expressed anything. Even other kids aren't that. It's different now. It's different. Like, when I was in high school, people would say the F word all the time. Like, it was just constant. Was just a word that everybody said to everybody. So, like, to come this far, like, and there's still bullying that goes on, but
I agree.
It's much better.
I have the button that you are safe with me, and I still hear it from some teachers, like, why you have it. And that's why I'm asking if you are still like, even in your like surroundings, do you still have it? Because I do have it. I still have like a push down of some sort in my school as well. So
I'm sure living in Pennsylvania, like, you know, for as liberal as we can be on the coasts, the edges of PA, like, we're still pretty much the South and the between. No offense to everybody in the middle of PA. You know,
we know what you're saying.
We're getting there. We're growing.
Yeah,
I agree.
Awesome.
I agree. We're in 2024. We're learning. We're learning
really
step by step.
You know, great. Yeah, and great for the kids to have a place to go. You know, because do you guys remember Square Pegs? It was a show called Square Pegs.
I've heard of it. I don't think
Sarah Jessica Parker. Sarah Jessica Parker was in it, and it was all the kids that just didn't fit in anywhere. So, you know, and I know back then and now is maybe a little bit different, but you know, it's a safe space, and I thank you for doing that.
It's literally my pleasure. I love doing it. It's so much fun. I have kids from the high school come down and help out, and they really like help mentor, and they do a lot of the work of like, you know, talking to kids and just helping them through some tough times. So it's a great community. I'm just lucky to be a part of it.
That's really good.
Great.
That's really good to know. Talking about the community and stuff like that, JJ, I know that you have a podcast with Jameson. I would love if you can talk a little bit about it, and if you can talk about the new podcast that you're going to have soon with Doug Orth. If you
Who?
can share.
Breaking news. It's breaking news. Breaking
Doug
news
who?
on the Game Changers.
So I'll talk about Rider Dynasty is my baby. Wait, am I pointing to the right side? That was my first podcast. I launched it with two buddies a long time ago. And then it went away for a little bit. But when I recently joined up with like IDP Plus and like Nate and Ricky and that whole crew over there. And Joe Harlow was looking to do a podcast. I was like, I'll do a podcast and I have a name if you want it. So I hooked up with Joe and he's amazing. Like just a really sharp, like young guy, like a great up and comer. And we did a couple episodes together. It was going great. And Jameson Hutchinson had jumped on for 2 shows as a guest. I was going away for Easter, so we recorded 2 back to back. And he came on and rocked. And Joe and I were like, do we just want to bring him on?
Heck yeah, you
And
do.
maybe I was pushing it a little bit because I love Jameson. So yeah, it's going great. We're not 30 episodes in, but I think we're 9 in and it's been going good. So I'm very excited. And it was nice to sort of get back into the swing of things because I'm launching a podcast. Now I have to carry some dead weight with me. This guy named Doug, or he's a lightweight in this community. Hopefully I can teach him some things.
I'm teaching him, JJ. Come on.
I know you are. Oh no. Doug, why are you listening?
I think he's here.
He said so himself. I'm teaching him.
So yeah, listen.
You never know what, but I'm teaching him.
I mean, my whole thing with Doug, and I've been saying this to Doug since the day I met him, like, you need to have a podcast. Yeah. You are one of the smartest people I know about fantasy football. And I don't know why you don't have a podcast. And then every time I'd see him at the expo, I'd be like, you need a podcast. And last year I was like, we need to do a podcast. Like,
this is going to be the first podcast that Doug's ever done.
Yes.
Not that he's been on, but I think
but his own show.
Wow.
His own show. That's the first. Yeah.
You know what he likes? JJ, he likes to be called Babe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Babe. Okay, I'll definitely call him Babe. Oh, he
agreed. He agreed. I told you.
Well, the name of the pod is All Out Blitz, but it might just be JJ and the Babe.
Yes.
JJ and the Babe. We're here to help.
Listen, we're here to help. We're workshopping a second title. We're trying to figure out like our tagline. Maybe it's just JJ and the Babe. Listen to the All Out Blitz.
What is this going to be about? What is this? What is this new podcast you speak of? What are you going to talk about?
Fantasy football, I guess. What we are going to do, and Doug and I have had long conversations about this. I want to bring Doug to the masses. I want Doug to become like the name in the industry. And I am sure that as soon as people start listening to him, like he's just going to rise and ditch me, but that's fine. I've told him that from the beginning. Aww. Like, but
he's not going to ditch you. You know that.
I know that. But I want people to recognize Doug's brilliance. His approach to fantasy football, coming from a high stakes background, being very analytical. Every trade when you're in a high stakes league means a lot more. Like it's one thing for a bunch of people who are in free leagues to talk about making trades or draft decisions. But when you have thousands of dollars on the line, like it's a little different. So yeah. I like his approach and he is so analytical, and I don't know. I just want everybody to see what Doug does because I don't think enough people recognize his genius.
I can't wait. I'm super excited.
Now, I know that all went to Doug's enormous head. Like, he's already tall, and now he's going to look like a lollipop with this giant melon of ego walking around, but that's what I want.
Well, that's exciting, though. A new show, and, you're doing the show with Jameson, too. But there was a time where you kind of walked away from all of it. What was going on there?
Yeah.
I was with a great group, Gridiron Ratings. Jeff DiMatteo over there does a great show. He was actually just on Rider Dynasty. Great site. There was some discord, not like discord, but like conflict. And I went to the expo, and Nate and Ricky from IDP Guys back then made an offer to me to come on and like head up their podcast, just sort of to be like oversee it. And I was like, absolutely, this is great. Came home, and I had that letdown like after the expo. Like now I recognize everybody just goes through this period of depression. Yeah. But for me, I just started to spiral, and I have imposter syndrome. So I started listening to the podcast they were doing. And it was fun. I actually told Dynasty Santa this, Steve, that when I listened to his podcast, I was like, what the F could I possibly add to this? Like, I can't bring anything to this situation. And then it just started to spiral in my head. And I was like, what am I even doing? And I quit. I canceled Rider Dynasty, sent out the email, like the message to everybody saying I'm done. Emailed Nate saying it was over. And that was it. I was out for, that whole season, and up until I just started, till Nate and Ricky got me back doing mock drafts for IDP Plus and reeled me in. Got me back.
You know what though? This community needs you. They do.
Oh,
you're one. Well,
of the I need the community. Ones, I don't know if they need
one of the good ones. No, we need you.
I don't know about all
well,
that.
I'm glad you decided to dive back in. So, how did your wife feel about it?
Well, I didn't tell my wife when I quit, and I can remember telling her. Now, my wife has had to deal with my mental illness for a long time, like especially when it was bad. So she's seen the ups and downs. And when I told her that I canceled my podcast, she was like, what? She's like, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, well, I think I said something along the lines like, if you were doing something that was taking you away from our relationship, so like, I guess I tried to blame it on our relationship, but she, like, we've been married. You know this. You've been married how long? They don't want us around. Like we've been around enough. And so she is always encouraging. She's downstairs now. She asked why I was drinking tea after work, because I never drink caffeine after work. And I'm like, oh, I have a pod tonight. She's like, oh, that's awesome. I'm going to watch some TV. I'm like, cool.
Well, tell her to come and watch the replay because it's really good.
No, because you said you're going to make me tell secrets.
Oh, yeah.
Never watch about that. Share secrets.
Forgot about that. Sorry.
See? I remember. I wrote it down. People are mean. That's what stood out when you were talking earlier. I'm like, God damn, people are mean. Aren't they?
Sometimes they are. Sometimes they are.
It takes nothing just to be kind. Nothing.
Yeah. And that's what we're here to talk about. And that's why we're doing this. It's trying to be a good message. So, and to have people like you, sharing your story, and, this is just great. I'm so happy. I know our viewers are happy. This is just a great time.
I'm having a blast. I'm rolling up my sleeves right now. I'm like ready to get into it.
All right. We got more time.
JJ, what is your greatest fear and how do you manage it?
Oh my God. What is my greatest fear? No, I don't know. What is my greatest fear? What am I afraid of the most? Well, as somebody who has imposter syndrome, my biggest fear is that suddenly everybody's going to realize that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Okay.
So I think that's my biggest fear, but it's not, because it doesn't really bother me. Like Doug texted me before this, wishing me luck, telling me how it was going to go fine. And I was like, well, I'm not really nervous. Like, I love talking to people. So I don't know if that's my fear. Dementia.
Oh yeah, that's a rough one. I don't wish that on anybody.
Like as I age, my dad had Alzheimer's. He passed away. Man, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a horrible disease, and you don't see it coming. And that's a bad one. I agree with that.
So yeah, I
It's
think
funny.
now. I mean, if you want me to be more humorous, that's a little deep. I'm now afraid of roller coasters because for
Yeah,
most of my life I went on roller coasters and I loved them.
me too.
And then there was like that. There was a rash of injuries that happened. And in the one article, it said, well, the weight limit is 220 pounds on most roller coasters. And I'm still fat, but I used to be really fat. And I was like, wait a second. They were letting me on roller coasters? Like, I could have died. So I don't go
So
on roller
that
coasters anymore.
no
I'm done.
roller coasters, huh? You
I'm
know
done.
what? Here, my thing, and I'm the same thing. I've lost like 95 pounds,
Good for
and
you.
I couldn't go on roller coasters because I couldn't get the straps done.
Oh, that
Even if I
embarrassing
wanted
with the
to. Oh
bar.
yeah. After a while, you just stop. You don't even try.
You just
You're
hope it
not.
clicks
You know
once.
you're not going on it. So and I'm just like, now I can. So we're gonna go to Vegas. I'm gonna go do the zip line because I can.
Oh no.
So
I
no,
remember when I was at my heaviest and I took my daughter on her first roller coaster. And my like even now, my daughter's 27 and she is so like thin. Like she's always been tall and thin, like her mom. And like they would put the bar on me and there'd be like 2 feet of space before her. And I just remember holding on to her because I was so scared she was gonna fly out of the car.
that happens.
I know. That's why I hate roller coasters. That's my fear. There you go.
I won't go on any rides at the fairs, local county fairs. No, not rides that they're bringing in on the back of a pickup truck and a trailer. No, I'm not gonna go on those.
Mm-mm.
But I'll do a roller coaster. You're not a fan, Carla?
I used to love this stuff. Right now, I can't. I don't know why.
Mm-mm.
I don't know why. It's just, I don't know, growing older, maybe?
Oh
Growing wiser?
yeah.
Like, I don't want to die. I'm
No,
not there
and not like
anymore.
that.
I
Not
don't
like
know
that.
why. It's weird. I
My death
used to
story will be
love
much better
going
than
on
a
these
roller coaster.
places.
I don't know. That's a pretty crazy story. It
That
didn't
actually
happen
isn't
to
a
a lot
bad
of
one.
people.
That's actually a pretty good way to go.
I mean, if I
It's
had a
good.
choice, okay, I'm just dying in my sleep, you guys. I don't. Yeah,
Oh,
just die in my sleep. That would be
Peacefully.
my
It's
wish.
the best way.
Yeah. Don't
It's the
want to
best way.
know.
JJ, can you share some challenges you faced in broadcasting world?
like as a podcaster, I think
Yes.
one of the biggest challenges, and this is something that Doug and I just had to have a conversation about, um, is all everything. I like all parts of podcasting. I love the editing afterwards. I love doing all that work. I love all the work before, and I love actually podcasting. It's the best part. I just hate doing all of it. Like when you work so hard and you hit the finish line and you're done with the great pod. And it used to be that I would have another hour and a half, 2 hours of work afterwards. And it was like, oh, dear Lord, like I don't want to do
Yeah.
this. So that was something that Doug and I were talking about. And one of the reasons why we're doing this with IDP Plus is they have such a good system in place to help support us. So
Okay.
I have Foxworth who's willing to help out and she does all of our thumbnails.
I love her.
Oh, Fox is the best. Fox is
Yes.
and then like Gary Van Dyke, my brother, like Gary will take the stuff, he posts it on YouTube, he posts it on Spotify, he cuts it into shorts, and Fox does some shorts. And then it's automated and Nate has it sending out tweets. And it's like even just the biggest bane of my existence as a podcaster were the descriptions. Having to write that description for the podcast. Because like I've already said everything and now I have to type it again. Oh my God, I hated that. And they do that for me. Like it's
Problem
amazing.
solved. Problem solved.
I know AI helps out a lot now. Like I wish I had AI a few years ago, but man, like I think that's the biggest challenge. Now,
Yeah.
that's like the technical challenge. I guess if you're just talking about podcasting in general, it's what do you talk about? Like, what's your niche? Like Rider Dynasty, like I still have that. I'll listen to podcasts like the PFF NFL podcast. And I'm like, damn, those guys know a lot. And like, it'll start seeping in like, well, you don't know anything. You shouldn't be doing this. So it's like, okay, get those thoughts out and just figuring out where you fit and what you can bring. I think that's the hardest thing about podcasting.
I agree.
Well, so the IDP plus that is it? You just talk about defensive stuff. I don't know.
Well, that's why it's the plus now. IDP Guys was originally founded, and I know this because I heard Nate's podcast with Casey Kasem today. It was founded by Nate and Johnny, and it was just IDP. But as they've gone on in the years, they've been adding other things. So that's when they're switching the rebranding from IDP Guys to IDP Plus, IDP Plus Offense, IDP Plus Betting. So it's all aspects, but it's still retaining the IDP name for recognition and branding purposes.
So yeah, I'm not familiar. I've never played any kind of IDP stuff.
What?
I know.
Why?
I know. I'm scared.
This is what I'll tell you about. This is the secret to IDP. And no, it is the easiest edge to get on a league because most of your teammates, most of your league mates won't do the research. They won't because it's too much. So in offense, there is such a glut of information that, I don't know, like you can luck your way into a championship in a redraft league just playing offense. But when you throw in that IDP, man, like, okay, now we're going to separate a little bit, right? Like it gives you some avenues to flex. And I don't know, I love IDP. I love IDP so much. Like that was when I first started doing content. I was writing about IDP. I just find it so interesting.
It's kind of getting more popular, I'd say.
It should, but I mean, it's always going to be niche. It's going to be a niche market. No matter how you twist it, most people just want to watch offense. I mean, that's why the NFL tweaks the rules to make offense score more points, right?
So like on a regular redraft team, just say if you're throwing in IDP, like what kind of players are you looking at? A safety or what do you throw in there?
No. First of all, don't like safety switch over. Tom Kisslingberry is one of the best IDP guys on Twitter. Used to be I think Tom Degenerate. Brilliant guy. But he always shows like every year how many safeties turn over from year to year. Like it's like 80% don't come back to the top 12. So it's not like offense. So safeties you can wait on. Corners you never draft. You can always pick them up off of waivers. You want defensive ends who are going to get you sacks. Depends on the scoring, obviously. And then linebackers, 3-down linebackers, right? The guys who are on the field the most. But it's much like you want the running back who's getting the most carries. You want the linebacker who's going to be on the field for the most downs. It's the same kind of idea.
Okay, so but you still have a regular team. You still have a quarterback and
you still have all that stuff. You just add it on.
See, I don't know these things, JJ. That's why you're here.
Well, let's talk some IDP. I'm up for this.
I'm supposed to play an IDP with Mace. Do you know Mace?
Yeah, Callie.
Okay.
Yeah, I love
Mace. So
we're the best. He was just on my pod.
I love him too, and he said he would have a team with me. I haven't heard anything from him, so we'll have to see.
He might be in witness protection.
He might be
getting blocked.
I think we're still following each other. I don't know.
And if he doesn't, like, let me know. I'll join a league with you. I'll help you out.
It just scares me. Like I tried the Dynasty last year. I do not like it. I'm not a fan. Yeah, it's too much. It's too much, JJ.
Oh my Lord. See, I have separation anxiety. So I always, when I started off playing redraft, and I was good at redraft. Like I barely ever won a championship. I came in second a lot. And that was my thing. Like that was the joke in the league. And
I love
But
watching you guys
I would
draft.
hate picking up players who were great and they were sleepers and then having to give them back to everybody else after the season. I'm like, wait, but I found him. He is
He's
my
mine.
player. So, and then somebody was like, well, there's this type of fantasy where you keep your guys. I'm like, I'm in. And I'll keep the worst players. I will keep the worst players because I love them. And I don't care. Because one day they're going to break out. One day. I don't know when.
Because if you
Christine
get rid of
Michael
him,
is still going to have an RB1 season. As long as he can get back into the league and get on a team and
get off of his couch.
Can you share your journey with the Expo last year, JJ? You were not drafting last year. You were helping with the computer stuff and stuff like that. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes.
Did you like it? Did you enjoy it?
So for
would you like the computer drafting more or the original drafting with the board? Because I was with the board and they transitioned to the computer the next year for me. So which one do you like more?
I miss the good old draft board and the stickers.
Me too.
I miss the community. And if I'm lucky enough to get in Scott Fishbowl this year and I can get to a live draft, I miss that because that used to be our party. Like when I first joined Fantasy Football League, like all those years ago, like once a year, we'd all get together. We'd get sloppy silly together. We'd make draft picks and make fun of each other. And then, slowly that changed. Like people weren't showing up to the draft, so they would be on like auto. And so I haven't had a real live draft in a couple years. So,
but weren't you an auctioneer or something?
I was. So I would say, I said this to Brian Drake the other day that he probably changed my life more than he will ever realize. I was getting ready to go to my first expo. That would have been the first one post-COVID. And he posted on Twitter that they were looking for an auctioneer. And I had just started to listen to Drew's podcast. I think that might have been his first year or second year. I think it might have been his first year. And I was like, I'll do it. Because I always say I'll do it. Like, who's going to run Dungeons and Dragons? I'll do it. Like I always say, I'll do it. And
I agree.
I showed up and like, I hope my students aren't listening because I'm going to curse. But fucking Ryan McDowell was in the room. And I was like, oh, you're him. Okay. And then like, as I was looking around, it was like in Usual Suspects at the end, like when he's like looking around and he's seeing everything and it's like, oh no, like what the fuck am I doing here? Like these are real people, right? Gary Davenport, Drew Davenport, Doug was there, Chris Allen, Scott Piankowski, Ian Harditz was in that room. That was where I met Hutch. But like, oh my word, Lord Don't Lose was there. Lawrence was there. Like Mike Waller. And I'm just like, oh my God, like these are all the people I read and see. Like,
it's awesome.
But so I did it that year. They invited me back the following year, which was great. And then this year they decided to go in a different direction. It was okay. I handled it. I didn't have a mental breakdown or anything. And it just freed up more time for me. I was able to watch the draft.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, you'll have, and I'm sure you really enjoyed your time, but, you missed a lot because of it too. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I walked in that room, the room you were doing, the auction. And I mean, first of all, I didn't think I had any business being at the expo, but I want everyone here to know, and I want JJ to attest to this. I don't care who you are welcome at that expo.
Everybody's welcome.
Oh my gosh, I had the time of my life, but I walked in that room and I'm sweating. It's like it was so intense. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta go. I saw Gary Davenport. He scares me. Okay, he scares me. You know, and he kept telling me, he's like, I'm just Gary. He always says it, I'm just Gary. And I'm like, no, you're Gary Davenport.
He is.
You got the trench coat on. I mean, you look at him, you know who it is, you know.
Yeah.
So,
And
you
he's
know,
like
it was
Thanos.
really
He
great.
writes for
Yeah,
everybody.
I
He
know.
writes
I've
for
seen it.
everybody. I don't know how that man writes so much. Yeah, Mauricio was there. Oh,
Yes, he was
Mauricio.
an
Listen,
incredible
I
auctioneer. I agree.
Gary
Gary
scares
scares
all
all
of
of
us.
us. I
Mauricio
love Gary. What you're talking about? I love
Mauricio
Gary.
has to be one of the nicest
I
and
love
warmest
him.
people I've
Yep.
ever met. And the way I know I'm at the expo,
Great English.
and I hope this doesn't come off mean, but whenever I walk into the DoubleTree for the first time with my bags, I'll always look to my right, and Mauricio's at the bar. Like that's his like Thursday thing. He's waiting for everybody else to get there.
I
Now
love
Hamlet's with
that.
him, and it's
I
wonderful.
agree.
And it's always
amazing.
like, I'm here. Like,
Yes.
and he gives me a Mauricio hug, and I'm like, oh, like this is home. This is home for the next few days. And it's
Yes.
just,
It's gonna be amazing this year. It's gonna be amazing. It's
You know,
really wild.
Carla and I haven't met yet. We haven't met
No.
like
In
in
person?
person. Yeah.
No, I
Oh.
never did it. I'm going
I
to
wonder,
Chicago
though-
now. I can't wait.
you're going to Chicago?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll see her
Wait.
soon. I don't
Wait,
live far
you're-
from there.
I'm going in May. I have a wedding, so I'm going the 23rd till the 27th. So I'm
Very
going
nice.
to Chicago. Doug and
Wait,
I
where
will
in
go.
Chicago do you live? You live
I
outside
don't
of
live-
Chicago?
I don't live in Chicago. I live in Indiana. I'm in Northwest Indiana, but I'm
Okay.
like an hour. I'm not very far
Yeah.
away. Yeah, so
So
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go and meet her, and we're gonna go have dinner and drinks, and we might let Doug come. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah,
You
we
want to
might.
hear you want to hear a Northern Indiana secret?
Yes.
Oh, I'll tell you a secret. So when I moved to Chicago, now remember, this was in a period of chaos in my life. I was a young man, and I'm not proud. I had an ex-girlfriend's Blockbuster card. And we went to Indiana, me and my buddy, and we went to a Blockbuster, and we rented like 6 different N64 games because we
Ooh.
knew it wasn't my card and nobody would ever find us. And then we kept them. I hope
Oh
they're
my
not looking for me, but Blockbuster's closed now, right?
Oh,
Like
Well,
the
yeah.
statute of
but
limitations is gone.
if you can live with that, okay.
Listen, it's been hard to live with, but
Well, I'm
that's
glad
the
that you talked
secret. It's your
about
heart
it.
here.
Now you got it out. It's out in the open.
the funniest part is that the ex, called my house because she still had my home number.
Oh my god.
And my mom gave her my address. So I got a
Mom.
bill anyway from Blockbuster that I had to pay. I was like, oh, curses.
Oh, that
Oh
is
my
so
God.
funny.
That's bad. I don't think anybody has ever heard that story.
Hey, look at that.
You heard
We
it
got
first.
it. We got it. We always
And I'm
get
going to
something.
pretend that's my deepest secret.
Oh,
Do you still
you still have
those?
the game?
I do not. I should.
You should
They're
have.
done. Oh,
This is-
what?
I did
Now
it a few
Doug
weeks
doesn't want to
ago.
do a pod with me.
He's
I'm a
out.
thief.
He's out.
It's
He's
okay.
jumping ship.
It's a good call, Doug. It's a wise decision.
JJ, talking about the industry and how we are like all together and like talking about the expo and having fun together, like men and women and everything, and and how we connect on so many levels and stuff like that. And I know that Wendy started with something a little bit negative about what happened today. Can you share with me a little bit about your input into the women in the industry as well? I would love to hear your voice with the women in the industry. What's your voice into women in the industry? I would like to hear that from you too.
You know, I empathize a little bit with men who feel like they're losing out on something. And not because it's real and not because they're actually losing out, but because it's such a mind space that it's hard, to, I think, for them to get out of. So they see women being successful and it goes against whatever they were raised to believe women should be. And I think as I've grown and like matured as like gotten older, I've tried to understand people who I disagree with more. And I think that's something that's missing a little bit. But I mean, honestly, shut the fuck up. Like, who cares? Like, I don't like if you don't want to read a woman's work, don't read her work. Like, and if you don't want to see their tweets, just block them, mute them. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't understand. I don't understand the need to tear somebody else down for just being who they are. And even if who they are, like, and I think this goes like even back to like LGBTQ, like,
Yeah.
you know, I was just in a little conversation, like, I should have just stayed out of it. There was a Twitter thread about pronouns and somebody was saying some stuff. And, you know, listen, like, I'm an English teacher.
Yeah.
I had a student who wrote an entire narrative, a story, using where one character used they, them as their pronouns.
Mm-hmm.
My mind almost broke because it was the hardest thing in the world to read because nothing made sense. Because they would say, like, they walked in, then they did this, but it was like one was the group they and one was the. So listen, I understand pronoun confusion. Like, I have 100 kids, a decent amount of, not a decent amount, a handful of them have different pronouns. And I
Yes.
always ask at the beginning of the year, what pronouns do you prefer, right? The same way I ask, what name do you want to be called? And to me, it's like a nickname. Like, if a kid doesn't want to be called Matthew, he wants to be called Matt, I'm going to call him Matt. If there's somebody who identifies as a male and they want to be called JJ, I'll call them JJ. Like, it doesn't take anything on my end. But I always tell them, I probably won't remember your pronouns. Like,
yes.
in the hustle and bustle of the day, I'll try, but I might not get them. So, like, it's sort of like this, like, so I try, and they know I try, and they respect that I try. But I just don't get why people are so thrown off by something that's not them. Like, nobody in the world is me. So I don't, like, and I don't, I mean, let's be honest, I wouldn't want to meet another me because I'm kind of obnoxious and an asshole. So, like, if I met me, I'd probably not like me. So I just don't understand why people want everybody to think just like they do. Like, I don't know. And anybody who thinks gender is binary, like line men up next to, put me next to, who's that? Ardarius Mims. You cannot say Ardarius Mims and I are like, yeah, sure, we're both male, but he's a different level of male than I am, right? Like, he's 6'6", like 340 pounds of pure muscle. I couldn't do that if I tried. So don't tell me that it's binary, because there is definitely a scale of how masculine you are, how feminine you are, and everybody falls somewhere in the middle. Like, yeah. So fucking what? Who cares? Yeah. I don't know. It has nothing to do with you. Just let it go. But that's just me. I'll shut up. I get a little fired up about this stuff.
It's just me.
No, I agree. I mean, it shows your own character. Every single time you speak, it shows your own character, and it doesn't reveal the character of the person that you are bashing or putting down. It shows always your own character. And thank you for saying that. I really appreciate
saying all of that. I can understand viewing the world as it slips away from your worldview and feeling lost and not knowing where you fit in and struggling to hang on to what makes sense in your brain, right? Because they're just trying to get through their day too. And something is disturbing that complacency in their life. So I hope they find peace. and I hope they can just be happy. Like, I don't know. Just gonna have a drink of it.
Be compassionate. Be happy.
Positive. That's positive, though. You want them to be happy. So
Yeah.
that's
Be
awesome.
compassionate
Yeah,
and happy.
this has been
Yeah.
just such a great show tonight, and thank you so much for coming.
Is it an
on.
hour?
It is. It is. Hey,
Oh,
do you have just another? Can we talk about the Scott Fish Bowl real quick? Because we
Yeah.
kind of brushed. Okay, so did you sign up for a live draft?
Yes, I put in that I was interested in. I think I said Philly, New York, or Boston.
Oh, okay. So
Boston,
you
come
would
to
be able.
Boston. I'll see you.
Yeah, she's
I would
gonna
love
be
to.
there.
I mean, my kids live in Worcester, so I'm up in Boston a lot. I would love to go to Boston.
Yeah.
Did you live draft last year though?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not.
Well,
We
let me
still
tell
got
you
a secret to get out of you, Jameson is
Wait.
saying.
No,
What
I
is
gave
that?
a secret.
He gave us one. His
What is
blockbuster
that?
stuff. Yeah.
Blockbuster. I don't
There's
know
a
any.
secret. What is it, Jameson? Say it, say it, say it.
Yeah. It's Jameson's trying to tell your secret.
I don't even know. If Jameson knows a secret,
It's a secret.
let it loose, brother. I am going to see a Pirates game with Matt
fun.
Donnelly, Jody Smith, and Jameson Hutchinson. We're getting
Oh
together
my gosh,
the day
that is so
before
awesome.
the expo starts. We're meeting up in Pittsburgh, going to a game, and then we're driving.
Oh,
Oh
what
my
a
God,
great
that's
idea.
amazing.
That's so awesome. I'm so jealous.
It wasn't my idea, but
Are we gonna
Hey.
redo the picture from the expo with Matt?
listen, I will kiss Matt's bald head any day he wants. I love that guy. Matt Donnelly is a sweetheart.
Him too. Yeah.
And Matt Donnelly is another person, right? That should be a lot bigger.
Yes,
I mean,
agree.
he's a giant. Like, he already is big, but
He's a big
he
guy.
should be bigger in this industry.
Industry. I agree.
Like, he is
He does
so
a lot. Yeah,
He
and
really
he does
does.
a lot.
He really does, and he has a great eye for talent and like nurturing talent. Like, and Ryan Hallam, like,
funny.
God, I could say a lot of names. Like, Ryan Hallam is one of the best
I
guys I
love
know.
him. I love that guy. You know what? He's so
Giant
positive
mustache.
and man, oh man, for women, he's always so inclusive. God, he's great. I love him. I really do.
We always celebrate his birthday at the expo.
I know.
Ryan.
I know.
All the
I
time.
think we celebrated it last year. That was the Imperial Room. That was the Imperial Room.
Yeah.
We got you a cupcake too.
I don't remember any cupcakes. I just remember how cheap the Imperial Room was to drink.
Oh,
Are you going to be going there again?
From the bar?
Absolutely not. I'm a teetotaler.
Oh, that's so funny. All right. Well, just in case, JJ, people don't know where to find you, can you kind of let everyone know for us?
Sure. You can find me on X at JJ Wenner. You can find my podcasts, Rider Dynasty with Joe Harlow and Jameson Hutchinson over at IDP Plus. You can find, starting at the end of this month, my new podcast, All Out Blitz with JJ and the Babe with Doug Orth, which will also be on IDP Plus.
I love
That's awesome. Yep, that's great. Okay, so thank you. This has been so great, JJ. I can't wait to see you at the expo. I'm definitely going to be there. My room is booked. I made the mistake last year of not getting a room in time at DoubleTree, and I did not let that happen this year because that's like the place you need to be. So
it makes it easier.
It does. But yes, before we go, we kind of want to make sure everybody remembers that we're going to be taking a little bit of time off. And I'm super excited. I'm sorry, you guys. We love you. And please come back. But we are going to be off for
I have separation anxiety. You know this.
We're going to talk. We're going to talk. Okay. It's all right. We're going to talk. Okay. Carla, I don't remember the dates. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I got you, my dear. So we have an extended vacation from June 19 to July 10. During this time, we'll be gearing up for an exciting return on July 17, just in time for the draft and all the fun of the fantasy football season.
Oh, thank you for that. I was totally unprepared. I had it all printed out, left it at work. I'm so sorry.
Wait, don't forget about Discord.
You're always
Sports Affiliation
prepared.
new Discord.
I did.
You
I'm
said
going to mention it one more
Oh,
time.
sorry,
yes.
sorry.
The Sports Affiliation has their Discord. You guys got to go. It's free. Sign up. Come talk to us. I'm not a big Discord fan. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but you know,
I don't know
We're
how
all
to use it, but I'm on it.
I'm not good at it. Yeah, I'm not real good at it. So we'll see how that goes. But you guys all need to join because it's going to be really fun. It's going to be lit, like the kids say. I don't think the kids say that, but so anyways, everybody, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you come back and see us next week at our normal time, which is Wednesday night, and we are here at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, and we have Angie Hatfield. You guys, do you guys know Angie is like, she's a rock star. Like, she supports every tournament, and I can't wait to hear her story. So she drives by my place, she goes to visit her kids at Notre Dame, and it's like right by my exit, and it's like, oh man, we got to meet up sometime, but we haven't had a chance. But she's going to the expo, so she's going to be here next week. Thank you to everyone at Sports Affiliation, JC, Iggy. JC, thank you for everything that you do for us. You make our show just run so smoothly. He's great, isn't he? So anyways, thank you, everyone. Be safe. We'll see you next week. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone.